Welcome to Neural Nexus Podcast, where we explore the hottest topics shaping the world. Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're diving into some, well, pretty surprising news today.
Yeah, it involves a major public disagreement between two figures who, well, according to the source we're using, seem pretty allied until recently.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we're sticking really tightly to one specific source.
It's an article from CNN Business. The title is Timeline of Elon Musk and Donald Trump's Feud, and it was published Thursday, June 5th, 2025.
Exactly. So our mission here, just to be crystal clear for you, is to walk through the CNN article. We want to pull out the key details it provides.
Just to understand what this one source says triggered the conflict and, how it played out according to their reporting.
Yeah. And look, we know these names, this topic, it's inherently political, right?
Yeah.
But we need to stress we are only focused on conveying the information in this specific article.
No outside context, no taking sides, not at all. We're just here to understand what this CNN report says happened. Simple as that.
Okay, let's get into it then. What does the source tell us first?
Well, it jumps right in. It says an intense public feud basically just erupted on Thursday, June 5th, 2025.
Right into the thick of it. And it says this argument, it wasn't just anywhere, it was across social media and even in the Oval Office that same Thursday.
That's what the article reports. Yeah, Oval Office too. And it pinpoints the cause, or at least the reported cause,
Which is?
specifically about what the article calls Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Ah, okay. And the source describes that
As a massive tax and domestic policy bill. So it's kind of interesting how the report frames this specific piece of legislation.
as the absolute spark,
Yeah.
for this whole intense public feud involving, these huge names and even the Oval Office itself.
Exactly. But the article actually backs up a bit. It doesn't just start on Thursday.
Oh, right. It rewinds.
Yeah, it suggests the tensions, according to this source anyway, they actually started building a couple of days earlier, Tuesday, June 3rd.
Okay, so Tuesday, what reportedly happened then?
That's when the source says Musk publicly blasted Trump's bill.
Blasted it. Does it say how? Like specific words?
It does. It actually quotes him, calling the bill a, wait for it, disgusting abomination.
Wow. Okay, disgusting abomination. That's pretty strong language.
Definitely. And the article notes this action, this comment on Tuesday, it apparently surprised Republican leaders.
I can imagine. So that really sets the scene, doesn't it? That phrase popping up earlier in the week really frames the eruption that happened on Thursday.
And speaking of Thursday, the article then details how Musk reportedly escalated things even further on that day.
So after the abomination comment on Tuesday, what did he do Thursday?
He reports that on Thursday, he started sharing old comments. Years-old comments, actually.
From who?
From Trump himself and other Republican lawmakers.
Okay, and what were these comments about?
The article specifies they were comments raising concerns about U.S. government spending and the deficit, kind of digging into the archives there.
Right, so using past statements, and then what? Did it stop there?
No, the source says throughout that Thursday, the whole thing just got bigger. The dispute broadened.
How so?
Trump got involved, obviously, but also other, prominent figures from both their worlds, basically, their orbits, as the article puts it. They all joined in the argument.
A widening circle. And did the article mention any specific actions by Trump on Thursday besides just arguing?
Yes, actually. A very significant one, potentially.
Yeah.
It highlights that Trump even raised the idea
Yeah.
of terminating government contracts held with Musk's companies.
Whoa. Okay, terminating contracts. That's a huge step beyond just a policy disagreement.
Absolutely. And according to this CNN report, that detail really seems to underscore the stakes here. It suggests the conflict, as they report it, went from policy critique to, potentially impacting major business ties. And fast.
So this wasn't just a Twitter spat, according to the source.
Doesn't sound like it, no.
Yeah.
Especially with that contract element mentioned.
The article also gives some background, right, on their relationship before all this blew up.
It does, yeah. Provides some important context. It states that, until very, very recently, Musk was described as, a staunch supporter of the president.
Staunch supporter. And wasn't he involved somehow officially?
Yeah, a near constant figure in the White House is how the article puts it. And it includes this specific detail.
What's that?
That just last week, so right before this feud erupted on June 5th, there was an event honoring his formal exit from government work.
Okay.
And at that event, Musk reportedly said he would remain a friend and an advisor to the Trump administration.
A friend and an advisor.
Yeah.
Just last week, And now this.
Exactly. So when you put that background next to the feud over this bill,
Yeah.
the article kind of synthesizes a core takeaway from all this. It says the dispute signals just how much and, crucially, how quickly the relationship between Trump and Musk broke down.
And specifically because of this disagreement over the bill. That's what the source says.
Specifically because of the disagreement over this one bill. That's the connection the article draws explicitly.
So, according to the CNN report, it frames this massive shift, from friend and advisor last week to intense public fight, threats of contract cancellation this week, as being driven solely by this clash over one specific policy item. It's quite a statement on how things changed if that reporting holds.
It really is. And just one more small thing the article includes.
Go on.
Little note at the end, just mentioning that this is a developing feud, and that their timeline will be updated.
Yeah, okay, so it's a snapshot. What they reported as of Thursday, June 5th.
Precisely, capturing that specific moment in time.
All right, so let's just quickly recap the key points we've pulled only from this single CNN source for you listening.
Okay, so intense feud erupts Thursday, June 5th. But the trigger, reportedly, was Musk's criticism on Tuesday.
Right, calling Trump's big tax and domestic policy bill a disgusting abomination.
Then Musk escalates on Thursday, shares old comments about government spending and the deficit.
Which broadens the fight, brings in others, and, crucially, the source reports Trump raised the idea of canceling government contracts with Musk's companies.
And all of this, according to the article, points to a rapid breakdown of a previously close relationship.
Sparked specifically by disagreement over that one bill.
That's the sequence and the core issue detailed exclusively in that CNN article we've been discussing.
Yeah. So hopefully just walking through the source like this, step by step, gives you a clear picture of how this specific report describes the events and what it identifies as the heart of the dispute.
Just sticking to what's on the page there.
So here's something to think about based purely on what the source shared with us.
Yep.
If this report is accurate in portraying that this feud shows how significantly and rapidly the relationship fractured, specifically because of disagreement over this single policy bill, what might that suggest to you?
Suggest about what?
About the power, maybe, of concrete policy issues. Their power to potentially shift or even break political alliances, even between figures described just days before as close allies and advisors.
Interesting question. The weight of actual policy versus personality or past alliances.
Exactly. Just something to mull over, drawing only from the narrative presented in this one CNN piece.